Hello and welcome to this episode of Content Marketing Commute. I'm here in the outskirts, in the surrounds of Paris, close to beautiful Parc de Sceaux, with Pierre Seillier of
Hello.
Newtn.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast, Pierre.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh man, thank you so much for saying yes. I pretty much only got in touch with you like 2 days ago.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And you just rolled with it.
It was an improvisation, but I think it was a good talk we had.
Fantastic. Well, let's get walking,
Yeah, sure.
because we're always on the move here on Content Marketing Commute. It's a podcast with a twist. We talk content marketing, but we're always walking and on our way somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's so good. And where actually are we here right now?
We are at Antony City, which is a city close to Paris, in the suburb of Paris.
Yeah.
And close to the city, we have a beautiful park called Parc de Sceaux.
Parc de Sceaux.
Which is it's a park very well known on a worldwide scale.
Yeah.
Because there is a specificity on this park. It's a small Versailles, in fact.
Ah.
And we have how you say this in English? The word the trees.
Cherry blossom.
Cherry blossom
Yes.
trees.
And
which-
it's the time of year right now.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's an amazing, very a very spacious moment for us.
Yeah.
And Japanese are also coming from their own country
Oh.
to see these trees.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Because they are most common in Japan.
Yeah, that's true. But,
But they're here
here it's not very common to see these
Yeah.
trees in Europe.
Wow. Well, you're so lucky to get to see them on the podcast today.
Yeah.
And if you're only listening on the apps, please do come over to the video because you'll get to see the cherry blossoms. Cool. Are we going this way or this way?
This way.
This way.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm gonna show you where exactly we are going to
Yeah.
enter into the park.
So
But,
good. So good. Well, it's good to be here and good to be discovering a new area like we like to do on the podcast. But Pierre, give us a little bit of a background on yourself and what you're trying to build at Newtn.
Yeah, okay. I'm a marketer since 12 years now. And my last experiences are the first one I can mention is Agorapulse. I was in charge of marketing for France at Agorapulse,
Nice.
which was a really, really good experience for me because I was managing a team of passionate people.
Yeah.
And this was a very, very intense experience. But
Yeah.
wow, it was for me, it was
How long were you there again?
2 years and a half.
2.5 years.
And it was the first time I was working with other people in other country because we had a team for the US. We had also a team for Germany. And in this scale, I never worked, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
on a worldwide scale like this one.
Nice.
So it was a very intense experience, but very, very fun.
Yeah. Very
Amazing.
cool, man. And Agorapulse, I think it's still red.
Oh yeah.
That's a classic pastime in Paris. Is just everyone just walks whenever they want.
Yeah.
And it adds a little bit of excitement to the podcast. We don't want you to get hit by a car.
Yeah, or a moto.
Yeah, or a motor.
Moto are probably more dangerous.
Yeah, exactly, man. So Agorapulse, it's a marketing tool, right, for scheduling.
Yeah.
I've actually used it a few times. I mentioned
Well,
for scheduling on social media and things like that.
yes, effectively, it's a social media management software.
Yeah.
So you can prepare your post, you can monitor your post, you can schedule your post,
Yeah.
etc., etc.
Yeah.
And you can measure the ROI of your strategy
Right.
on.
Sorry.
Wait, that's right. Okay. You can measure the ROI of your strategy on social media. So
Yeah.
it's a very, very useful and powerful tool.
So that's what you were doing, and now you've founded your own company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Based on this experience.
Based on that experience.
Because when I was working at Agorapulse, I saw a lot of problems for content management, content production,
Yeah.
content operation, in fact.
Yeah.
And I saw the problems on my mind, and I was thinking of the way we can solve these problems.
Yeah.
I talked with a lot of people making the job, a
Nice.
similar job in other companies,
Yeah.
and they told me that effectively they had the same
They had
problems.
the same problem. I love that
So-
sense of like starting a company based on the experience you've had working in an area and seeing the kinds of problems you
Yeah.
had and other people had and being
Yeah.
like, maybe we could try and solve these.
Yeah.
Can you talk us through those? Like, what are those specific problems that you're trying to solve?
I'm going to tell you the story to answer this question. We can go
Please.
this way. And then we are going in this way.
Amazing.
So, in fact, when I arrived at Agorapulse, Agorapulse had a story before I joined the company. And there were people working on the French team, there were people working on the German team, there were people working for the US team, and they produced content. They posted on YouTube, on WordPress, on Google Drive, etc., etc. So there were
different places,
all different places, and there were, in fact, a lot of content which were already existing before I joined the company. But I think you probably experienced this problem. Sometimes companies are unable to say, okay, we know exactly what are the contents we produced since the beginning. And finally,
you have a way of sort of like losing sight of what you actually have.
Exactly.
What's there,
In fact, they are producing again content they have already had on the library, but they don't know that it exists. So finally, they spend money again for the same content. So this was exactly the case we faced at Agorapulse. We had a problem with auditing the existing content. And imagine we had a WordPress blog for the US, a WordPress blog for France, a WordPress blog for Germany. And finally, everyone has his own content, its own content. And finally, we were replicating an existing content from another team. So it was not a well-performance strategy. So this was one problem. The other problem we faced was the fact that sometimes sales or product managers, product marketing managers, or CS teams, they come to us and ask us, okay, do you have this kind of content we can, on this topic, we can share to the clients or the leads, or we can use for nurturing people? And we were unable to answer this question because we in fact, we answer very partially the question because in fact, we just answer on the content we produce at a certain period, the content we have in mind, not the existing content before. So in fact, it was another problem we solved. We faced, in fact. The third problem, we faced was the fact that when we produced content, when we generated campaigns, we were unable to precisely and exactly say what was the content ROI. And it was
a huge challenge for everyone in content marketing.
Exactly. And it was a strong problem, and it's always a strong problem. Because if you are unable to answer the question, okay, my content generated X thousand or 100 euros of revenue, how do you want your management to give you money again for making the content production you want? So that was the three main problems.
Big pieces.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay. So I think that's what we're going to explore, throughout this episode, is those three big problems and how you're building around it, and also just how content marketers can start to think about solving these problems in more general terms. But we have entered Parc de Sceaux, and it's beautiful. All of a sudden, it's just birds. There's no more traffic sounds.
Very quiet.
Very quiet. It's beautiful.
And I think the view is also amazing. I don't know if people can see it.
Let's just go down here. We're on this amazing route, amazing sort of road with trees lining.
It's like campaigns, in fact.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And you are going to see the amazing view we'll have just after this.
And there's a lake over there.
It's beautiful. The canal.
Yeah. It's a canal. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a canal. I can see like
it's like Versailles, in fact.
Yeah. I could see like King Louis riding his horse in here or something.
And there is a castle in just
a castle over there.
Oh, the other way of this part.
Okay. We might get a look at that too. Well, brilliant. Okay, so these are all problems that, as a content marketer myself, I definitely feel like I've come across a lot. And, maybe we can touch on that first one again and that whole piece around content operations, because I saw you talk a bit about that on your website and kind of, one thing I loved on your website was, what did you say, Frankenstein? Frankenstack.
Yes, effectively.
You're doing away with the Frankenstack in content marketing.
In fact, I think that was the challenge for me, because we started to build a product very very large. We try to answer a lot of pain points the content managers faced day to day. So in fact, it was hard to define what we are doing.
Right.
So I found this word, content operations assistant, which is I think the best qualification to summarize the product we are building.
Because how would you define content operations? What is that kind of?
So content operations, in fact, are all the activities, processes, the tools, the technologies which are required to produce content for a brand.
Yeah.
And this has to be effectively, I mean, it needs to be very performant. So
totally. And when you've worked in it for a while, you do realize, like, creating the content is one part of it, but there's so many processes that need to be really solidified around getting someone's input or getting validation on something and all these sorts of things around it, right?
Having all the workflows, all the organizations, it's a challenge for every company.
Yeah.
We tried to solve this problem at Agora Pulse with Asana, but Asana is not well efficient for this because it's not
perfectly designed for that.
Exactly. Yeah, and especially for content managers. Yeah. So the thing is that this was a problem. The other problem we can mention is the fact that you have to connect everything. But if you have a lot of tools for making your content, in fact, you had cost on cost, on cost, on cost. Yep. So at the end, it's a lot of money. Yeah. It's a lot of money because a software, if you want an efficient software, it's costly.
Yeah. Sure. And then you've got one tool to do this, one tool to do this, one tool to do this, and you've got like a Frankenstack, like you're
exactly.
saying. Yeah.
And sometimes when you connect tools between them, when you have a workflow and you try to connect tools, imagine if a day the API is updated.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's broken your workflow. So you're losing time for fixing the problem again.
Yeah.
More than producing content, making your job, you see.
Yeah, exactly.
So finally, this is why we try to develop something, an all-in-one tool, in fact. So this is what we are doing now.
Yeah, great. Okay. So when it comes to content operations, like, what are those, even outside of the tool, like, what does good content operations look like? It's one thing to have an all-in-one tool, but like, practically, what should that workflow kind of look like?
Oh, that's a good question, a very good question. The thing is that I think it's the first thing of efficiency is knowing the existing content. That was the basic thing for us.
Right.
So
and you found a lot of companies don't still?
Oh, yes, for sure. And in fact, when you look at the market now, you have a lot of tools proposing you to produce content adapted to your tone of voice, to your brand identity. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But they are not taking into account your previous content.
Right, what you already have,
So finally, you replicate content which are probably already existing in your library.
Sure.
So you see, the problem is not very well solved. So the first thing is knowing exactly what is your content and knowing data around it. Because, for example, I'm not sure that a lot of companies are able to say, okay, we have contents for awareness, for conversion, for loyalty. You see, they are not able to classify very precisely the contents they have in a funnel.
Yeah, so, and what it's actually for. Yeah, I've often found, like, even in that content creation phase, sometimes we don't ask ourselves enough, like, what am I trying to get someone to do? When they read or consume this, like, and that audit phase is what's important, to be like, actually, this is what I have to get someone to, think about the problem, or this is what I have to,
That's exactly true. And the thing is that when you know exactly what is your content, it's easier for repack or recycling it. Because you can take your content, you can ask the tool to make declination of your content, like, I don't know, a blog post, you can transform it into a library, etc., etc. So you can give a second life to your content, in fact. So you increase the ROI of your content in this way too, because in fact you are using it for another use.
Yeah, love it. Really cool. that's something I'm keen to get into, and we could probably just get into it now, is that whole recycling thing. So, you talked there about you have the audit, you know exactly what you have, and this is going back years in your company, you might only have been there 2 years, but the company's been doing content marketing for 20 years. So
That's for
so then that speaks to, if you know what you have, you can more easily recycle it and not start from scratch every time, right?
Yeah.
So what should people be thinking about in terms of recycling, and how is it, we talk about repurposing. How do you do it well? Because I think there's some ways that you can do it where it's just regurgitating the same thing.
Yeah.
But how can you do it well?
I think you have to take into account the performance of your content too.
Yeah.
Having a clear view of the existing content is something good. But if you take into account the performance of your content, and if you take into account what are exactly the expects of your audiences, because it's also something to take into account when you are producing content.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the way we are.
Shall we go that way?
Yes,
Yeah. Cool. We're just alongside the canal, and it's
very
so
beautiful.
Man,
It's like the one of Versailles.
Yeah.
But it's smaller than a Versailles one.
Yeah.
So I'm running here very
so
often, twice a week.
Yeah.
And normally it's hot than this.
Yeah. It's a bit chilly today.
This
right.
one. So in fact, yes, you have to take into account several parameters.
Yeah.
Your existing content, the content performance, and the interest of your audiences.
Yeah.
And if you want to be very successful in repaking your content, creating again give again the second life to your content, you have to take these parameters into account to be sure that you're not recycling the content, which will probably not with the very performance.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, can you take signals based on what people engaged with or what performed well, and then how can you iterate on that, or take a slightly different angle, or
exactly. In fact, the idea for us was to screen the content, screen the performance of the existing contents, and recommend to repack the most powerful contents, or the one who can be powerful, because it seems that it's matching your audience interests.
Yeah.
So
cool.
the thing is that we took this way, and for the moment the MVP testers told us that it was probably the right way to follow.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's a really cool way to be looking at it, because you're not just repurposing for the sake of repurposing. You're always trying to find what your audience is interested in, and then deliver more of the stuff they're interested in. So
AI could be a very useful tool for this, because when you screen your content with the AI, you see exactly what could be the teaching you can do with your existing content.
Yeah.
And when you match this with your performances, you have a good angle for repack the right contents.
Yeah.
And this is very, very useful for us. For Newtn, it's exactly what we've developed. We developed a tool that is able to screen your content and summarize it, repack it, and fixing the information of your content with the performance and the audience interest. And the thing is that this is not easy to do. You can do it by yourself, but you will have to set up a lot of automations,
right?
And you will have to monitor it by yourself. Here, we try to make it very easily, because we think that content managers are not engineers.
Yeah, sure, totally. And is that working based on like text-based content, written content?
Yeah. In fact, it's based on several parameters. The first one is the fact that we have our own source, Chrome source. I don't know if it's the right word in English, but
secret sauce.
Exactly. Nice. But we develop something very, very powerful for screening the content and having the right information to restitute to the people. But the thing is that we took this angle.
Cool. Yeah, very cool. One thing in repurposing that I've always found interesting in content marketing is, I'd be keen to get your thoughts on it, is kind of building your whole strategy around thinking about repurposing from the start. Because if you're a small team, it can really help you to do a whole lot more with less. And I think that what you're talking about is a really cool angle in terms of identifying opportunities for repurposing based on all the library and catalog of content you have. But also, I think if you're, when you're starting to create new content, you should have repurposing in mind from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And one thing I love to do, like, for example, this podcast is really thought through in that way because, we're filming it right now. I take snippets of this video and then I cut that up and that's repurposed into social posts, and then I write an article, and AI helps hugely with the transcription and being able to write really quickly now.
Yeah.
And so I've really found that repurposing is like really useful in terms of starting with something that's a big pillar, like a podcast or a video or whatever, and then being able to do a bunch of things off the back of that.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's a good way. And you can do the same with ebooks, for example.
Yeah.
When you have an ebooks, you can catch your ebooks in several blogs articles.
Totally.
And then these blogs articles, you can cut them on making some social media posts like LinkedIn posts. So it's exactly the same. And I think that's the right way for me. I think it's a personal opinion, but I think it's the right way to increase the ROI of your content.
Yeah.
Because before, companies didn't do it. Now they are doing it. But companies, they were making a very beautiful content, an ebook, and they just post something on LinkedIn to make the promotion, and that was it.
That was it. After like 5 months of working on it.
Exactly.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Imagine the numbers of hours you spend on producing the content, on just making it.
Yeah.
Like this. So finally, the ROI was, for me, not well exploited. And now they understood, people understood that we can increase the ROI of contents, of masterpiece of content like this one.
Yeah.
By making a lot of declinations of the content.
Yes.
And this is probably, I think, the right way to move.
Yeah.
And the AI could be very useful to simplify the way you can do it.
Yeah.
And we have now a lot of tools that can help you, and Newtn like others. But the thing is that, yes, it's we change the way of making contents, and we change the way of distributing contents too.
Okay,
I think distribution is another challenge.
Yeah.
Because it's good to produce content, but if you don't distribute it well, it will be...
If those people don't see it, then what's the point? Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So distribution is another way. So you have to think your declination in the light of your distribution too.
Yes.
This is something very important.
Yes.
Because if you are making things just to make things, without having in mind the distribution you want to do, you will not be focused.
It's so true. It's really true. It's like you're sitting down to create a new piece. It's not just about the creation. So many people talk about, I'm a content creator. It's like, that's one part of the puzzle. Sure, you got to create it, but distribution and repurposing, those are two massive things that if you don't do them right, you're not going to get the ROI you wanted, and you're going to waste a bunch of time, and you're going to be always trying to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly.
And possibly, doing, like you were saying before, doing the same things over and over because you forgot you did it before.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. And I think that was the reason I mentioned the fact that distribution is as important as the quality of the content you're making.
Yeah, it's not like in English we say, build it and they will come. Like that's not at all what happens. Like exactly. I think with inbound marketing, we've kind of sometimes believed that people will just find it. Like people, it'll be, SEO or whatever. But it's like, no, you got to actually distribute and be smart about that.
I think it was true in the past.
Yeah,
probably in the past it was easy. You just have to put your content on the web, and the SEO can make the rest, and people will find it. And probably you had more chance to be successful. Now the battle is very, very strong. You have to face other people who use the same tools as you, because it's easy to use them, and especially SEO. And I think that AI broke the last door, which was blocking people from making SEO. When you look at the SEO evolution now, you see that everybody is making articles, posting blog posts on all the way, because they know that it's easy. They are using tools that make it easier.
Yeah, for sure. And Pierre, how do you think about distribution then in 2024 if SEO is kind of like really changed with AI? And
that's a good question. I think that SEO is changing, but it's always changing.
Yeah, it's just going to adapt. It's not going to die or whatever.
Every year you heard something new about SEO. SEO is gonna be dead or something like this. It's gonna die. But the thing is that finally it's never dead. It's never dying. And the thing is that we have marketers have to reinvent their strategy all the time. I think now we are in a different conception of marketing. Everything is going fast. The cycles are really short. So now when you are testing something, you have to think of the other way you can promote your content. Since several months and years now, we are facing new doors, new ways to promote content, especially TikTok, especially Instagram, which is a revamping itself.
Right.
LinkedIn is a new opportunity for marketers, especially B2B marketers. So you see, it's always changing because these platforms are reinventing new way to produce content. Reels, shorts for YouTube, etc., etc. So the thing is that you have to test. In my opinion, you have to test the platforms and see which one are the more relevant for your audiences. Because sometimes your audience can change its habits. And they can move from platforms to another one. So your distribution has to change in the same way.
Right.
You have to be agile. You have to adapt yourself to the audience habits.
Sure, facts. It's a huge challenge as a marketer, right? And like, I know when TikTok came, was really rising, I was like, oh man, like it's another social media, when you see as a marketer, you're like, oh crap, we're going to have to maybe do that. One was Clubhouse, when Clubhouse went crazy. I was like, are we going to have to do Clubhouses now? And it kind of died. So
exactly.
That was fun.
That's the way I was telling you that no, the cycle are very short. Because you have to test it, and sometimes it can I don't know, be a 1 year challenge, and that's it. It's over.
It's over.
And it's the same. It reminds me a story we faced at Agorapulse. In 2022, in January, it was there were a FOMO in France. I think it was the same for the rest of the world, but there were a FOMO around TikTok. And all the brands wanted to be on TikTok. And we faced it. It was a 6 months period. During 6 months, in January, I think there were probably 10% of the French brands in B2C which were on TikTok. And in 6 months, probably 40 to 50% of our clients wanted to be on TikTok or were experienced.
Okay.
So you see the shift in 6 months. So for us, it was a challenge, and we had to had TikTok on our
as a networks. Scheduling, as an integration. Okay.
So we integrated them. But you see, it was very challenging. In 6 months, you have to readapt your tool to the market. Because the market was changing.
It's kind of like this. It's this kind of wave of things like, it reaches a critical mass, and then like everyone's like, oh, this is actually a thing. TikTok is the thing. I need to be on it. And it even raises questions for us as even in B2B marketing, should I be on these new networks, or does it make sense? And I think one thing I always think about is like we would go, I remember in a previous job when Clubhouse was really taking off, my manager was like, we should be on Clubhouse. We need to do it. And it was like thinking about like, sure, it's a new network and it's a new channel, but what are we bringing to the channel? And especially with something like TikTok, it's like, Are we going to do funny dance videos? Like, what's our brand's take on it? You know?
On the real,
you got to figure that out as well.
for sure. And the real question is, do our audience was on?
Are they there as well? Yeah, totally.
Because sometimes you have the hype, and the hype is not enough for making sales or something else.
Totally.
It could be great for your reputation, for your awareness, but it depends on what you are looking for.
Yes.
But probably your audience is not here at all.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be a nice have, but it is not probably the right way to move forward. So,
and with these things, there's always that hype internally where someone in the sales team or something's like, hey, marketing, why are we not on TikTok?
Yeah, that's true. And sometimes you have to take care of your boss, because your boss could be enthusiastic around an idea. I'm sure that a lot of people who are hearing the podcast faced it once time in their career. But we always have this situation where the boss is very enthusiastic because he saw that this is probably the things of the moment, and we have to do it, but finally it's not the right idea.
Yeah, for sure, totally. Well, that's brilliant, Pierre, and we've reached the end of the canal here.
Yeah.
We're walking slightly uphill.
We are going this way.
Yeah, perfect. We're going to see the cherry blossoms.
Exactly.
Then
this way now.
Make sure you stick around, because this is like a hook at the end of the video. People have to keep watching to see the cherry blossoms, because they're coming.
They are coming this way.
So good. That's awesome.
You have to walk 5 minutes.
Yeah, no worries. That's really cool. It's been beautiful so far, and a great conversation.
And I think you have the view on the canal here.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Look at that.
Probably when you go that way, and see it more.
Yeah. This is like a tourism video for Karen.
Promoting the geo.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The Olympics. Are you going to be sticking around for the Olympics? Because most Parisians seem to want to leave.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that we will have the numbers of people they expect. I think some people were probably afraid of having a lot of millions of people in Paris.
Yeah.
So I will stay here and I will continue my life. But I will probably avoid the city center
right
of
into
Paris.
the city, totally.
This place, but I would stay.
Cool. Brilliant. Well, Pierre, a topic I'm keen to get on to, and you've mentioned it a few times throughout, and I think people will be really interested, is this whole measurement and ROI piece behind content marketing, and something you're looking to work on at Newtn and bring to market. Yeah. Obviously, it's like there's no silver bullet on this, and I think in content marketing, the question's going to, everyone's asking this question: how do we measure ROI? It's kind of like, especially when it's linked to brand and stuff, like it can get very murky in terms of, okay, like, did this influence the purchase? Like, how are you thinking about measuring ROI in content marketing?
I don't know. I know that's an old debate.
Very big question.
It's a real question. It's an old debate for marketers, and we say, we have an expression in French which is serpent de mer for you.
Serpent de mer, like a
snake.
Snake of the ocean.
Sea snakes. Yeah.
Sea snake. Yeah.
Snake. So the thing is that it's a sea snake.
Yeah.
Because there is a
slippery thing.
Yeah. And there is in fact, there is a space around behind us, which is the attribution.
Yes.
How do you attribute the success of things?
Yeah.
This is probably the point.
Yeah.
Is this the first touch or the last touch, etc., etc.?
Yes.
So you have always this debate between sales and marketers for attributing the success of things. This is something you have to take into account. But I think the first thing is be sure that you are tracking things. But because a lot of marketers now in 2024 are not tracking well their campaigns, their content distribution.
Yeah.
And they are not taking care of having a UTM in all the distribution channels, and having a specific UTMs for every distribution channel. So
do you think that's because it just seems like too big a problem to figure out the attribution? So they're just like, it can't be.
I think there are several reasons.
Yeah.
The first one is time. It's
okay.
time consuming to generate UTMs and to report your UTM into a library.
Yeah.
You see, let me just give you an example, but at Repurpose, we had a policy for the UTM generation.
Uh-huh.
A lot of company hasn't got a UTM policy. You see, when I was mentioning Japanese people coming
Yes.
at the park,
Amazing.
Japanese people, yeah.
Very
I'm sure if you ask them where they are coming from Japanese.
Yeah, amazing.
I don't remember if it was this way or this way.
Yeah, should we just follow them? Or is it that way?
See, probably. We are going the best way, or we will see.
You've got to do the basics right, basically.
Yes, the basics
first.
are not well set up in all the company.
Yeah.
So having a policy is something you have to do.
Yeah.
Respect your policy is something else.
Yeah.
And having a library of your UTM is something also to do. And a lot of companies are not doing it at all.
Okay.
Even if we are in 2024. Believe me, because I saw it a lot of time.
So how did that work at Agora Pulse? What was the process like?
So the process was an Excel sheet.
Yeah.
And we were generated based on the policy we set up.
Yeah.
We were generating the UTMs.
Yeah.
And we were, when we generated the UTMs, we were adding a line.
Yeah.
It was very, very artisanal.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the right
Yeah,
expression in English.
just simple, yeah.
It's very simple, very basic.
Yeah.
But a lot of companies don't take care of making it like this. And you have a lot of company, and especially the small and middle fries, where you have only one content manager on his job do it.
Yeah.
So the thing is that he hadn't got time for making it and be sure that he is making it well.
Yeah, sure.
So
and maybe they start well, but then after a few months, it's like, drops it a bit. And yeah.
So I think this is one of the reasons. The second reason is that if you are in a big organization, taking care of the tracking is something sometimes complicated.
Yeah.
I will give you an example. We moved from Google Analytics 3 to Google Analytics 4 last year, and a lot of people are not trained for it.
Yeah.
So you have something to keep. I think it's the second reason.
Yeah.
And the other reason is that sometimes tracking is splitting between the marketing and the operations.
Right.
Like the revenue operations, or I don't know, the growth focus.
Yeah.
Like this.
So it gets a bit siloed between the two. Yeah.
And the communication between teams is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the customers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Small castle.
Château de Sceaux.
Beautiful.
But you see, it's a nice place.
Yeah.
You have a lot of trees. And, if you want to change your view on Paris, you can see.
Come out here.
Really here.
It's very green. It's very quiet. It's beautiful.
Yes.
There must be a whole enormous team of gardeners because those trees over there were beautifully manicured.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
So I think yes, you have three potential reasons explaining why the ROI is not well tracked.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, is the policy and the rigor you have to set up your UTMs. The second one is probably the knowledge of G4, and the third one is the silo organization you have, because sometimes it's splitting between people on the having the conversation of looking to the numbers, looking to the content in another way.
Yes,
hard to do.
Totally, yeah. Because on that last point as well, it can be, depending on the length of your sales cycle in your company and stuff like that. If we're talking about the ROI of a piece of content, this could be years back that someone has, been influenced by a specific piece of content or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
And so you easily lose sight of that, and then you think, oh, the content didn't do anything. It's not a big thing, or
yeah, that's true.
Which is not giving the content its full reward, and in so many ways it's quite a long-term play. Content marketing. So. Yeah,
and there is another thing you have to take into account for answering the question, is the fact that it's also cultural, because looking to the ROI could be showing that your content strategy is not relevant enough for generating business. You can be challenging by your boss, who is looking to the numbers and telling you, okay, finally, your job is bullshit. Your job is not making enough.
No one wants to hear that.
Yeah, it remains my second idea. The second idea is that sometimes it's more comfortable to look at vanity metrics when you are talking about ROI.
Right.
And some people, they are matching several concepts. They are looking to vanity metrics, but finally ROI is not that for me.
Okay.
ROI is how many meetings you generate for yourselves, how many revenue you're generating for your company.
Yeah.
This is more ROI, the true ROI notion.
True ROI. Yeah.
More than looking to the vanity metrics, which are the numbers of people you're generating on the website, or the conversion. But conversion is so bullshit, because what is a conversion?
Yeah.
It can change from a company to another one.
Sure.
So you see, you have to be precise on what you are looking to.
Yeah.
On ROI, for me, is more what the numbers we have at the end of the funnel, the bottom of the funnel, more than the vanity metrics we have at the top of the funnel.
How much are those connected? In a way, you need to generate that top of funnel vanity metrics in order to then get the bottom of funnel.
Yeah.
So I understand the fact that it's kind of like, at the end of the day, you care about revenue, right? And you care about meetings and stuff. But you almost need to go through that top of funnel in some ways to get there.
That's true. That's true. I'm not saying that you hadn't got to take care about it. But when we are talking about ROI, it's more for me bottom of the funnel.
Sure.
But you have to take care of the other numbers, because I don't know how people do in their own company, but when I was in charge of Repurpose, we had some hypothesis of conversion from the top to the front of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel. And we expected from having, 3% of conversion from this stage to this stage, etc., etc. So for sure, you have to take care of these numbers, the visits you have on your website, the numbers of people.
Because that then should translate into the bottom. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to have this global view of things and having a large scale view of your firm.
Yeah.
So you have to take care of all the metrics from every stage of the funnel. So,
but you got to make sure that the final result is that it doesn't end at those metrics.
Exactly,
that's what you're saying before. Yeah,
exactly. But what we've done at Repurpose, we try to simplify things. For us, the concept of our tool is plug and play. In fact, so you plug your tool and then you can play with us. And the thing is that I asked the team to develop something very, very simple to use, because, as I mentioned previously, content managers are not engineers. They don't want to spend time to understand things or to build things like automations, something like this.
Yeah.
So what they want to see exactly the numbers they are looking for.
Yeah.
And they want to look at the numbers very, very easily. They don't want to dig into the GE4 for looking into the numbers. I think we are close to the place, but I see it's this way. You see?
Oh, yes. You see a little Japanese gate.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Far away, I don't know if you see it.
I'm not sure, but we'll head down there.
We are going to move this way. So
because that's interesting what you're talking about there, is like understanding who you're building Newtn for as well. Is like, these people aren't, maybe data people, like at the deepest level, they're creators and they want to create things and they want to, like, the data is for a purpose to be able to understand what the audience wants and how to go further. And So,
and the thing is that's we wanted to make it easy. So for me, we highlight the vanity metrics, but not we don't spend a lot of time on it. We just wanted to show you. Okay,
hello.
Finally, your content brought you X numbers of meetings and X numbers of revenue.
Cool.
So that this is the way we wanted to simplify the following of the method.
Yeah, very cool. Well, brilliant. Okay, so that's basically ROI and measuring it. So really interesting stuff. What's your thought though on one thing I've always thought with the funnel is that, in a lot of ways it's quite theoretical.
Yeah.
And it is. It's in our heads as marketers, because, we talk about the buyer's journey and stuff and top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel content, but no one actually takes that journey in that direct order, right?
Yeah,
Like people are jumping around all over the place.
Yeah, that's good.
How do you think about that? Like, does that change the way we should do content, or is that traditional thinking around funnels still really relevant?
Oh, that's true. I think if you are talking about tofu, mofu, and bofu,
Yeah.
this concept is dead for me.
Yes.
Definitely. I think it's very conceptual. It's very, it's an old view of things. And now you have to think differently. Definitely. So, because the approach is not so linear than we expect.
Exactly.
People, as you mentioned, they are going this way and then this way, this way, this way, this way.
Yeah.
It's not very linear.
Totally.
It's not a linear circle. So the thing is that you have to, for me, look at all the entrance doors you have on your tool or software or product, etc., etc., and think about what can be the path between one stage to another, on how your audience can move from a stage to another.
Yeah.
But it's more a specific approach and company by company.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, the right approach to have now in 2024.
Yeah.
Because you can't replicate a theoretical channel, a theoretical funnel from a company to another one. Because we have all our own specificity in terms of making business, of making the conversion of a lead. So you have to have a very practical approach.
Yeah.
And I think
there's definitely these playbooks where it's like, this is how you should be doing it, but you've actually got to understand your own business, your own business model, and how it works, right?
And there is a complexity now. In fact, the way we are making business is completely different in 2024 than it was a few years ago.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of ways to making business. It can be on WhatsApp, it can be on TikTok. In another company, it will be totally different. So you see that your funnel don't be the same from a company to another one. So.
For sure. It's almost about giving people, giving your audience different pathways or different options to explore themselves rather than trying to force them through this funnel that you've designed.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So where are the we have a map here.
Yeah.
We have those to listen to.
You're going to find them, guys.
So normally, I think we were at the place.
We were?
Where we were.
Oh, there you go.
I think we were.
Well, this will have to do. Look, there they are.
They are here in
They're
picture.
Beautiful. And if ever you come here, that's how you get there.
So you have the castle here.
Yeah.
And we walk from here to here.
Big wall.
Then here. And then we come back. But we missed the what is it?
Hey, well,
the
that's
real
okay.
one.
Well, that's what they look like. So that's
If people want to have
if people want to see it. Well, this has been brilliant, Pierre. I think it's been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for,
Thank you for the
being
invitation.
with me.
It was a pleasure to meet you. And honestly, I was not expecting you to contact me, so I'm happy to have this conversation with you.
Yeah. Do you have any final tips for the audience, if they're content marketers out there, the things we talked about today?
The first advice I will share: come to the Parc de Sceaux and visit this place. It's a nice place, so you will have a very pleasant time. The second one is be prepared for the change, because AI is going to change the approach of marketing, and we feel it, but I think it's only the beginning. Honestly, be prepared and be aware, be open to all those changes. You don't need to be afraid of those changes. I think you have to adapt yourself to these changes, and I think you will succeed by making it like this.
Totally. It feels like we're living through one of those big moments in history, right?
It's a revolution, and we are at the beginning. It's you have since I started in marketing, you have a lot of period like this one where things are changing. This is a moment we are changing things.
Massive. So lean into it. Even if if you're in content, think about your ops, your repurposing, and how you're measuring ROI.
Exactly.
Very cool, Pierre. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you to all the people who are looking at us, and thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. We'll see you again next week on Content Marketing Commute. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.